Well, thank you for joining me on another episode of A Dose of Reveal. I know I'm always excited to do these interviews, but I'm really excited about this one today. We're going to be talking about boxing. And so, like I was telling you before, the reason why I was interested in this conversation was at my job, they had developed like this, they had made a little gym basically for us to go into, whether we're taking a break or just a room for us to relax or, get out whatever
Yeah.
we need to get out. They made a little room for that. And so in this room, they put up a boxing thing, right? So when they first did it, I would go in there every lunch break, whether it was before or after, and just start punching on this thing, punching. And I was thinking, I was like, this is fun. Is getting any aggression I may have out, and at the end of it, it's kind of like stress relieving. But
Yeah.
I was also thinking too, like people don't understand the physical strength and how boxing can be so exhausting. And I was telling you before, I was thinking like I'm sitting up there watching these matches and I'm like, punch, go. Like you could say all of that because you do not and you cannot understand what this person is going through and what they are physically experiencing if you never did that yourself, okay? So with all of that, I want to introduce my guest, the #1 boxer from Brooklyn. But thank you. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so what's going on? Thanks for having me. My name's Earl Newman Jr. and I have been boxing professionally since 2014. But I've been boxing since 2009.
Oh, wow.
I've been in here for quite a bit after high school. And just to touch on your point about it being exhausting and everything, and people not exactly knowing. Yeah, so when you hear the hecklers when you're fighting, like punch, what you doing? It's like you understand this person across from me is trained also. You can't just go in there and do something. You gotta. It's like high speed chess. It's high speed chess. You gotta there's so much thinking and going on in there besides just brawling it out. It's like I really feel like fighters, they might have a bad rep of not being intelligent people. Sometimes they might be like all brawn,
Right.
brain, but it's a lot of thinking inside there. It's a lot of thinking. High IQ stuff going on inside there. So, but yes, boxing's what I do and I enjoy it.
All right, so let's talk about the history of boxing, which is very interesting. There has been recorded, knuckling up, bare knuckle fights. We got all the way back to BCE, dating back that far, just boxing. But when things really try to come together and become a sport, that would be in the late 1800s with Queensberry rules.
Yeah, that's the guidelines that we still follow today. Like we follow the Queensberry boxing rules. Like they made little tweaks here and there, but overall, underneath the umbrella, is the Queensberry boxing rules.
Okay. So that's when the rules have come into play. I'm sure you could speak for this too. That a lot of things have changed within the rules and certain things that can be done versus would disqualify a person. But basically just the start of creating it as a sport and mandating gloves to be in there, is way separate from UFC.
Right.
Okay. So that's just a little history with that.
Yeah. The UFC came a little bit later, and like they use smaller gloves and like they use a lot more of their body parts. Overall, like everything starts at the basics. Once everybody learns how to fight, the first thing you gotta learn, even as a kid, is put them dukes up, put them up. You feel me? So like the basics of every type of martial art for the most part is boxing. You need that as a foundation.
Right. Okay. So let's get into, there's a few boxers that we could name that really started, the transition for back then they would say colored people, right? But back then with some that have started. One that they have recorded is Jack Johnson.
Yes, the first black heavyweight champ of the world.
Right. So after that, who are two more that you could name that we know of and speak of today?
Well, maybe you've heard of like Sugar Ray Robinson, stuff like that. Sugar Ray Robinson, he's a very notable black fighter that rose up through all that, and I'll say even more as of recent times. We can even say Muhammad Ali. you know. So all these, you know, transcending figures, like, you know, also came through the Queensberry boxing rooms, came through boxing, and like, you know, through their accomplishments, and you know, everybody likes a good fight. You know, after school, somebody about to squabble up, like, yo, they about to, you know, everybody likes a good fight. That brings all cultures and people together, and it's a sense of pride for yourself, for your country, for your race, whatever it is, you know. And that's also what, like, you know, promoters like to sell off of Mexico versus Puerto Rico, or, you know, black versus white, like the white hope versus the black champ, you know. And like, you know, it's all promotion and everything, but at the end of the day, like, you know, people who really transcended the sport in terms of, like, you know, for our people,
Mm-hmm.
Jack Johnson, Muhammad Ali for sure, and of course Sugar Ray Robinson.
Okay. All right. So who would you say is, and you can say if you have more than one, but who is one of your favorite fighters?
Okay, so back in the day, this guy named Roy Jones Jr. He's one of the people that I was just in awe. Just watching on YouTube back when I first got my laptop back in '09 and everything. I'm just watching him. I'm like, God damn, I want to do that, you know. So that was one of my inspirations, Roy Jones Jr. Of course, I always remember watching Mike Tyson with my father when I was a kid, you know. And I'm like, I even remember when Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear as a kid, and I was like, oh, this guy must be hungry. I remember that so
Like,
vividly in my
oh, this
heart,
man is crazy.
you know. And there's a few notable other people and stuff like that, but I feel like, you know, of course, when that one person that's like, I feel like there will be like times like Michael Jackson is Mike Tyson. Like, he had like sensational knockouts, light reels from back in the day before social media, world renowned, you know. People like that is like, and Mike Tyson saw me fight back in the day when I was in amateur. He came to Brooklyn and saw one of my fights. He gave
Oh,
me a hand.
wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so nice.
yeah. That's cool.
Okay. So let's talk about what was the moment you decided that you wanted to become a boxer?
Actually, my introduction into boxing is a little bit unconventional compared to, like, you know, what people normally go to boxing for, you know, anger management and stuff like that. I went in there for weight loss. You know, I was like a heavy kid. I was overweight, but I was always athletic. I was an athletic fat kid, just running around, jumping over tables. But I love myself some honey buns and ice cream. You know, I went to high school. My parents allowed me to try mixed martial arts, but I always liked the boxing, kickboxing portion of it. For me, that made sense, and I caught on quicker than everything else. Then once I turned 18, and I graduated high school, and I was able to, like, you know, sign my own documents. I entered into Gleason's boxing gym. It's the oldest gym in America, and it's located in Brooklyn, New York, downtown Brooklyn. And I went in there. I watched a lot of Roy Jones videos, you know, on YouTube before I went in there, tried to emulate all of that. And my coach back in the day, his name is Harry Kite. He took a liking to me. He was watching me from afar, took a liking to me and everything. He asked me if I had a trainer. I said no. I was just in there doing my own thing. But I guess he kind of saw raw talent in me, and he told me, okay, I'm gonna take you up. He's like, yo, I charge this amount a month, and I was like, yo, I don't got it, like, you know. And he decided to train me for free for a year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he tried to train me for. I still have to pay the gym dues, but Harry took the chance upon me, and then, like, you know, he trained me for free for a year, and I was progressing so fast. Normally, this tournament called the Golden Gloves, people have to wait 2 or 3 years of formal training before the coaches feel comfortable to let them fight in it. And for me, I begged them, but I also proved myself that I was able to enter the tournament after like about 4 months of formal training. It usually takes people years. So from then on, I kept winning fights. My father, my little brother, my mom saw it, and it was like, what's going on here? But once I kept winning, and then, like, you know, I felt like that sense of pride and something that I do myself, like, that's what really drove me to keep going down this road.
That was meant for you. Okay, so do you believe the story you just told was very nice, very
Mm.
simple? Do you believe that every boxer has a trauma story?
Unfortunately, most of the time, yes. You know, people, and for good reason, people, you know, perceive boxers as people who have, like, you know, anger issues and stuff, and it's like an outlet. Like, even when you touched on earlier, like, you know, just hitting the bag at work helps you get that aggression out. Like, you see me outside, I'm so calm and chill, not knowing that I could, like, you know, like, break you up into so many different pieces, but it helps give you that sense of, like, you know, confidence, and like, and just relaxing. Like, you know, you don't have to be rah 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 all the time. Once you have confidence in yourself and, like, you know, who you are within, then You don't got to do all the extra bravado. But I do believe that trauma kind of goes hand in hand with boxing. Most of the time, people use that as their outlet, and then they use that rage on individuals in the fight, and then they also use it as a medium to get out of the situation. You could literally be nothing today, and one fight can change your whole life, and you become making millions and stuff like that.
All right. Okay. So that was a good transition into the next question that I have. So I was able to see your information on BachRec, and just tell me if the information is correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the information states that you have 10 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's at the professional circuit. As an amateur, they don't have that recorded. I have like a little passport book. And with that, I went 85-7.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I've fought quite a bit, but what's recorded, especially now since the Queensberry rules are implemented, like that's their official record book for the professional circuit.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
With that, I wanted to ask you, right? What are 3 things, and if you have more, that's fine, but what are 3 things that are mandatory when preparing for an upcoming fight?
First and foremost, like they always say, is 90% mental, 10% physical. You have to get your mind right, but that I feel like you also get your mind right through physical torture, like training is hard. And you can only build that mental fortitude by pushing yourself in training. So I feel like getting your mind right, definitely getting conditioning and everything, and rest, conditioning, and get your mental right. Without those 3, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. What are some pros versus cons in regards to being a fighter?
So the cons is a preconceived notion of, oh, you're aggressive and probably have a trauma story, or people even think that fighters are dumb. I've always made it my mission to make sure I speak eloquently before people, in front of a mic and whatever, because I want people to know that I don't just sit there and be and have they're very highly intelligent people that also fight into the sport.
Right.
And also people, I remember back in the day, ex-girlfriends or girls I used to talk to, they'd be like, oh, I don't want you to get mad at me, and I'm like, look, I'm not, just because I bought this.
Oh, thinking you go.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, I don't want nobody to ever feel uncomfortable or afraid of me, that type of life, Like even my wife now, she doesn't. It's weird for her to see me get into that fighter mode because I'm nice generally, you know what I'm saying? I'm her little teddy bear, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But when it comes to that situation, once I step into the gym, I want to step into the ring, it's a whole different mindset. Like I have to, but I don't want to be perceived as somebody that's not intelligent, nor being aggressive all the time. And the pros for it does give you that sense of confidence to know that you are true within yourself. You put yourself through torture all the time, so you know what you can and cannot put up. It's good for your health overall. It's really good for your health. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. And you like to look good. It's good to keep you in shape year round for the most part.
Do you have anything that are upcoming, and also let people know where they can follow you?
Yeah, for sure. So my socials are all going to be my name. I make it very easy for people to find me and promoters and stuff like that. It's Earl Newman Jr. Across all social media platforms. And I actually do have a fight next week, Friday, in Manhattan in Sony Hall. It's right there close to Times Square, on September 19th. I'm fighting against a guy named Georgie Arias up in the Bronx. He's from the Bronx, so it's gonna be kind of like
The Bronx versus Brooklyn.
You know how Brooklyn stays. So I'm going in to dominate and to win, but it's gonna be a good fight. And yeah, and I'll keep you updated on everything else after I get this win next week.
Okay. Yeah. Well, congratulations, and thank you for having this conversation with me today. Is there anything else you want to say before we end?
Yeah, and shout out to everybody that has been supporting me all throughout. Thank you for having me on this platform, and shout out to my family and God. Without them, none of this would have been possible. My family sticks up with me, my wife, with my training regimen. She's very nervous.
Shout out to your wife and your family.
You know, they're nervous all the time, but like they have the utmost confidence in me, and I prove myself time and time again. So shout outs to them for helping me stay centered and focused to prepare for the fight.
Right. Okay. Well, congratulations and good luck on this fight. I'm just gonna put it out there. You're gonna win.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye. Thank you.